Right? This is the last topic over here. So regarding certification, as I said, that there are lots of policies which are implemented, which are layered on top of the actual core specification, right? It sort of starts off at a bare bones API level compliance, right? Whether you want to implement a certain set of APIs, for example, a network might come together and say, we are only doing search, select, and then confirm. We are not doing anything else. Maybe it's not even relevant to them. For example, a teleconsultation network does not specifically require a status update every time there is something happening, or maybe a cancellation. Like, for example, a teleconsultation network can once the order is confirmed, all you get is a teleconsultation link in which you can talk to the doctor. Now, during while talking to the doctor, you cannot simply say, I'm going to cancel my order, or I know there are no tracking, there's no specific tracking which is happening, right, in those kind of networks. So an API level policy, an API engineering policy can be implemented at a particular network, which makes sure that, hey, any participant is implementing only these 4 APIs, no other APIs will be part of this network. Then there could be some policies which are at a domain level. For example, I had talked about final mile delivery having pickup and drop location as required fields, while the mobility might just require a pickup location as a required field, right? So it depends upon what the use cases of the network are. And then there could also be use case level compliance. Like, for example, if you are searching for, if you're searching for, I would say a metro, or if you're searching for, say, if you're sort of booking a flight, or in certain ways, maybe there are particular field, maybe the age of the passengers is required, or maybe the age of the passenger, or maybe some membership, or maybe some email address of the passenger is required for actually sending out the invoice, and maybe for web check-ins, etc. Right? For those cases, maybe there could be some rules which are at a use case level, right? And then obviously at a network policy is sort of a combination of multiple of these use cases. And then there could be some policies which are also applicable at a regional level. Like, for example, any network participant who wants to get listed on the registry must obtain so and so permits from say various government bodies, and those permits may be available in the form of digitally signed documents by various government bodies, which has to be submitted. So those policies needs to be checked for compliance before a participant is actually added to a registry, right? Now, there are various ways you can do that. One could be a completely offline way, where where the network participants themselves check within each other whether they are compliant with each of the network policy rules. These participants can sort of come together and form sort of an SRO, right, a self-regulatory organization which defines all these network participation rules and agreements, which need to be signed by all network participants, and actually do the testing internally. On the other hand, one can also employ certification agencies, right, which can actually be part of that network and actually be even listed on the registry as an approved certification agency, right? Which anybody can look up and actually test their platforms with. So how this works is that a more nuanced way of approaching would be to actually approach that. It's almost similar to how one obtains an SSL certificate. Okay, you basically start off by creating a certificate signing request, which contains all your test scopes, which means test scopes in the sense that what are all the various things you would like to get tested. It could be use cases, it could be a version, it could be any sort of it could be recertification, it could be expiry, sort of reactivation of a particular certificate. It could be at a use case level, domain level, regional level, etc. That certificate agency is basically, you generate a certificate signing request just like you do for an SSL certificate. You create a certificate as a CSR which contains test scope, and you submit that CSR to the certification agency along with your endpoint URL, etc. Then the next step, the certification agency actually tests all your scopes. Okay. And once you have, say for example, you have been, all your tests have passed, what the certification agency basically does is it issues a digital certificate. okay, digital certificate which says that, hey, these are all the test cases he has been employed with, this is the domain he has applied for testing for, and this is the region for which this test is applicable, this certificate is valid for, this is the time for which this certificate is valid, and this is valid for so and so version of a particular of a particular spec. And then he takes that certificate, the platform basically gets that certificate, downloads the certificate, and basically uploads that certificate onto the registry portal, right? And the registry portal does not even need to manually do, since it is digitally signed by the certification authority for a certain set of use cases, it can automatically add the certification, the platform endpoint to the registry, and the platform can simply start transacting, right? This is a much more nuanced way of certification, but this is currently a work in progress. But yes, this is also one way one can get certified on a backend network. This is just a quick example of how a certificate will look like. It'll also have the signing keys of the certification agency, the registry, etc., for which the network, and the domains it contains, the subscriber ID, which is basically your VIP or PPP ID, which you need to, which you are trying to get certified. What is the type? What is this like first time certification? Is it a recertification? Are you doing a migration, etc.? There could be a lot of types of certificates which can be issued, right? And yeah. Finally, this sort of is an example, and that this can be digitized in the form of very similar to a typical digital certificate which you have for various which you can get from various certificate authorities, right? We can have type it's like in the typical class 1, class 2, class 3 certificates which you can get from digital agencies. Similarly, you can get from certification agencies as well. So this is a very short snapshot of how a typical certification process looks like. Right?